Sai Ram. Om Sri Sai Nadhaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. In the series that we've been talking about Sri Saisatcharita, today we are going to learn about chapter 11 in the Saisatcharita. In this chapter, mainly what they deal with is how Saguna Brahma and Nirguna forms, how are they manifesting and what are they. First they talk about that, and then Hemad Pant talks about Dr. Pandit's story where he sees his guru in Baba, and then they also talk about Haji Phalke story, and in the end they have Baba, how he controlled one of the storms that came to Shirdi, and then how he controlled the fire in the Dhuni. So these are the main points, the main topics that are covered in this chapter 11. So let's go one by one. So firstly, Hemad Pant talks about the aspects of God. There are two aspects of God, or Brahman we call, the supreme God. So one is the unmanifested form. That means, there is no srishti, there is nothing there. That is called a Nirguna form. And whereas the manifested form, that is called Saguna form, is after the Brahman expresses as Prakriti, as world, that is called Saguna. The Nirguna is formless, and while the Saguna is with a form. Though both denote the same Supreme God, Brahman. Some prefer to worship the Saguna Brahman, some Nirguna. Our love and devotion do not develop unless we go with the form first, because with the form we want to worship, we want to serve, we want to pray. So with that, when we do that, our mind gets purified, and when our mind gets purified, we kind of develop a broad mind. Once we get that broad mind, that is called Chitta Siddhi. With that Chitta Siddhi, we were able to see God in every form. Then we realize everything is the same. So that is the Nirguna Brahma. So in a similar way, when we chant Omkara, Omkara is called Sabda Brahma. And when we say Om and silence and Om again, so first Sabda Brahma, Omkara, and then there is silence, Nishabda. So that Nishabda is Nirguna. Om is kind of Saguna. So like that we have to understand in our life also. Sai always told us that worship me as Nirguna. If you can't do that, then you see this body here, you pray to this body, that is Saguna. So even Baba taught this way. So we all have to remember that. Sai always emphasized the importance of the faith in our devotion. He reassured us that he will definitely bless us no matter what. He appeared as different forms, like Rama, Datta, Hanuman, Shiva. Like this, so many forms when devotees prayed to him in those forms. Or when people saw him as different gurus, he appeared as the guru also. So in a similar fashion, the Dr. Pandit story comes along, where Baba appeared as Sri Guru Raghunath from Dopeshwar, also called Kaka Puranik. Dr. Pandit came to Shirdi only once to see Baba. And he goes to Dwarka Mai, and Baba tells him to go to Dada Bhatt's place, where Dada Bhatt is. Later, he came along with Dada for Baba's worship. Dada is a staunch devotee of Baba, and until that time, nobody dared to apply any fragrant paste or gandha, tilak to Baba on the forehead. Only Mahalsapati used to smear it on the throat only. So, only Mahalsapati smeared it. We learned that. So, others applied mostly to the feet. But this Pandit was full of devotion. He comes there and takes Dada's puja's dish with all the materials there, and holding Sri Sai's head, he puts a tripundra on Baba's forehead. Watching this, Dada gets scared. His heart began to really beat fast because Baba would go enraged probably. That's what everybody was expecting. But the impossible happened there. Baba did not say a word, and he was quite pleased, and no anger was observed. So some time passed, a moment or two, and then Dada asked Baba, why you let this Dr. Pandit put tilak on you? Why you don't let other people do it? Baba then says, he saw his guru in me, and I had no choice except to let him do the worship. So later on, Dada goes to Dr. Pandit and asks him, what happened? And he says, I saw my guru, Raghunath, from Dopeshwar, Kaka Puranik, and that's why I did it. I did not even see Baba there. But later on, I realized that Baba was there. So, Sai let Dr. Pandit do it because he was with a full of devotion. He was serving his guru no matter which form that guru was in. He was able to see his own guru. In a similar way, we have to learn that too. Sai is even greater than all the 7 forms that we all worship. What are the 7 forms we worship usually? One is the image of God, the sacrificial altar, that is Agni, fire, of course, next one is the Agni, supreme light, sun, water, and a pious Brahman, those wearing a sacred thread. Through this story, Baba taught us how to merge with the Guru with worship. Sai wanted us to learn how to love our Guru and to have single-mindedness in worshipping our Guru. Sometimes we will say that I will only pray to my Guru only, but that also equally not good because you have to see your Guru in everybody. So next, Hemad Pant talks about Haji Siddiqui Phalke, who is from Kalyan, and he did a Makkah Medina pilgrimage also, and he comes to Shirdi. And this Haji stayed in the Chawdi facing the north. For the first 9 months, Baba was displeased with him and would not let him come into the Dwarka Mai. He tried different ways and means, but could never exchange glances with Baba. Phalke became very dejected, and somebody advised him to take the help of Shyama, because Shyama always talks to Baba, and maybe through Shyama he can get access to Baba. Then he goes and asks Shama to help him out. Then Shama goes there and talks to Baba. And then what did he say? How can you not be merciful to him and not allow him to come into masjid? Be merciful towards him just once. Then Baba says, if God does not allow him to come, what can I do, Shama? Then Baba says, okay, because Shama was trying to convince him to let him come. Then Baba says, okay, there is a narrow footpath beyond the Barwi well. Go and ask him clearly if he will walk and come there correctly. Shama goes and asks Haji. And Haji says, however difficult it may be, I will walk correctly, but grant me a personal meeting and let me sit near his feet. Listening to this answer from Shama, Baba says, ask him further, 4 times 40,000 rupees. Will you give it to me? And for this question, Haji says, what are you asking? If he asks, I will give 40 lakhs, where lays the question of thousands? Listening to this answer, Baba says, ask him, today we have a desire to slaughter a goat in our masjid. What part of the meat do you wish? Would he like bones with flesh, haunch, or testicles? Go and ask that old man what he definitely wants. Madhav Rao, that is Shama, or Shama, relates this to Haji. And Haji says, I need nothing of all that. Give me whatever he wishes, but I have only one desire. If I only can get a morsel from the Columba, that is the part that Baba has, I will have attained my object and my well-being. And then Baba immediately comes to Haji and says, what do you think about yourself? Are you boasting in front of me? You are giving yourself airs because of your age? Is that the way you recite the Quran? You are vain because you have done the pilgrimage to Mecca, but you do not realize who I am. So this way, Baba shows the anger when he was asking Haji. The Haji was kind of dumbfounded and got scared. Baba then turned back. While entering the courtyard of the masjid, he saw a gardener's wife selling mangoes. So he purchases all the baskets and sent them immediately to Haji. In the same way, he turned back immediately and went again towards that Haji, gives him 55 rupees from the pocket, and counted them on Haji's hands. Thereafter, there developed an affection. The Haji was invited to eat. Both of them forgot all the past. The Haji became very delightful and blissful. And then he leaves Shirdi, and he frequently came again. So, with the full pleasure and Baba's affection, he served Baba for years to come. What is the real meaning of this story? Let's try to understand these questions and Haji's answers. We can learn so much from this story. Baba said there is a narrow footpath beyond the Barwi well. Go and ask him clearly if he will walk and come there correctly. So let's look at this question. There is no such thing as Barwi well physically, but it could be the means of sadhana in adhyatmika way. That is the practice that we do spiritually. And that narrow path means treading the path of austerity. What are those? They include samadhamadi shat sampatti. They are the 6 virtues. Sama means quietude in holding the mind steadily where you want to focus. And Dhamma is controlling the organs of action, senses, organs of action mainly. The sama is controlling the senses, dhamma is controlling the organs of action, and then uparati is the cessation from leaning outwardly towards the external objects. Titiksha means endurance. And Shraddha means faith or firm conviction of the truth about the soul, the science of the soul, and the teachings of that science. And then towards the teachers of the science also. And then the last one is the samadhana. The samadhana means the balance, self-settledness in the pure eternal bliss in an increasing measure till permanency. That means till we attain Atma Sakshatkara. So this is the Samadhamadishat Sampatti of the first one. And the next one is Viveka. That is called discrimination, discernment between eternal and the non-eternal, discriminating between the good and bad, what is good for us, what is not good for us. So when we distinguish it like that, when we know the reality of the world, then we can focus much better. So to distinguish, after we distinguish this, we also need a little bit of vairagya, that is called dispassion, and freedom from self-indulgence. Because when we indulge the self of sense, we follow the non-eternal, worldly objects. So we have to be careful, because every time we follow the non-eternal ones, that is worldly objects, we have to take so many life forms. The final one is we need to have mumukshatva, that means desire to be free from birth-death cycle. In this process, we need to control the mind, make it still, have patience for Guru's grace, and so that we can move towards the ultimate goal. So the next question after the Bharvi well and narrow path, what he asks him is, the 4 times 40,000 rupees, will you give it to me? Baba is asking here purity of the faculty of the mind. What is this 4 signifies? Mind, buddhi, chitta and ahankara. These are the 4. If we can burn or annihilate these 4, then we can experience self-realization. So that is the importance of the second question. The third question is, ask him today, we have a desire to slaughter a goat, right? What kind of meat you want? So he wanted to test him to see whether he is really interested in the worldly activities with a passion. Bones with marrow indicate the creation, because all our body cells, we call stem cells, are all formed from the bone marrow. Bone marrow is responsible for the birth of so many cells in the body. When we become dispassionate about these worldly objects, we become eligible to walk this path. We can have so many pilgrimages under our belt. We can go and visit Kasi, Makkah, wherever you go. Srisailam, wherever you go. But it does not matter. We need to purify our mind first. So Guru kind of keeps us straight with his harsh words, even though it appears harsh, but he is doing it for our own sake, so that we can get rid of our bad tendencies. In the end, Baba gave him some mangoes, which indicate the auspiciousness, and he also gives 55 rupees. This denotes the 5 qualities that he needs to acquire to get the knowledge of the self. We should never misunderstand this as Guru getting angry at us. In reality, this is a blessing. We should never leave the feet of Guru, no matter what. We have to learn to live without this egotism, and we have to be humble. So this whole story teaches us how much pride we have about ourselves, even when we do good things. Oh, I'm a good singer. I can sing good bhajans. Oh, I can pray to Baba very well. So we have a little pride in ourselves, and people also see you that you are good at it. Even then, we have to be careful. This is the pride that Baba wants to get rid of. And finally, in this chapter, at the end, he talks about how Baba controlled the natural elements. When a terrible storm created a panic in Shirdi, and people begged Baba to stop this, then he goes out and says that stop your fury and be calm. And after a few minutes, the rain subsided and skies clear. In a similar way, Baba also controlled the uncontrollable fire from Duni. One day, there was all of a sudden, there was a big fire, like a lit up kind of thing. And the Duni fire was growing, and it was almost reaching the ceiling. So everybody was scared. What's going to happen? And nobody wants to do anything to Duni because that is a sacred thing. They are afraid that they put water or anything there. So they are just watching what Baba is going to do. Then Baba takes the satka and says, go down, like that. And then the fire goes down. So in this way, the Paramagurus, Supreme Gurus, Nirguna Brahmas, Saguna Brahma, they control these elements. So that's what Hemad Pant wanted to show in this chapter 11. This is our Sai, an incarnation of God, incarnation of Nirguna Brahma, who had the control of all the elements. So, Sai Bandhus, let us surrender to Baba with utmost faith and devotion. Sai wants us to have this patience and faith, Shraddha and Saburi. Let's keep that going, and let's continue to pray to Baba. Let's accept our Baba as our Guru in our life. Then we don't have to think about anything in this life or coming lives. Om Sri Sai Ram, Om Sri Sai Nadhaya Namaha, Om Sri Sai Parabrahmane Namaha. Sri Sai Nadharpanamastu. Om Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai.